and we're looking at the weather, and yeah, there's storms out on on both sides, north and south of the mountain, but it was like splitting a mountain, and these people proceeded to go down, and I call them the tree liners. And then there was my son and me and maybe 2 or 3 other people that continued to climb. And we got to about the first fall summit, and the storm rolled in and blasted us with snow, 60-mile-an-hour winds, and we were huddled up in a rock with a tarp over us, a poncho. And when it got done, we continued on. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is because there was a point where everything in my mind kind of went blank, and I just knew that this is what I was going to do today, and nothing was going to stop me. And Mother Nature seemed to agree with me that at some point she was going to let me go and finish this mountain. Now, you got to understand about this mountain, there's 2 false summits. So you think you get to the top, and then you turn and you look, and there's the next summit, which is the false summit. And you get to that one, and then you think, oh, man, I finally made it to the top. And then you turn and you look again, and there is the real summit, another about 900 to 1,000-foot climb. And then when you get to that top, I literally just sat down and cried. And I cried because it was something that was very difficult for me to do. It was the most mentally and physically challenging thing I've ever done. See, I hurt my leg on the way up. I've got really bad knees. And my one knee, I twisted it coming up. And I didn't tell my son. He realized after we got past the what we call the point of no return that I was hurt, and I continued to climb. And sometimes in life, that's what you have to do. You know, in business, the things that you talk about, sometimes, you know, there's a lot of things that come at you that are really, really bad or really hard that you just have to overcome. And if you can't overcome them, you're not going to succeed. And the reason, I would say 99% of the time, 99.9% of the time, the reason why you can't overcome them is because you turn back because of the weather. The weather is just too tough for you. It just, you know, it would have been easy for me to say, yeah, we didn't make it to the top because the weather came in and we didn't want to get caught up in the weather. And it's a true statement because in Colorado, if you get caught on the mountain in a thunderstorm, you're most likely going to get hit by lightning. You'll hear the rocks start popping and what have you. And so it's easy to say, yeah, I turned back because of the weather. It's really hard to say, I turned back because of my knee. I turned back because I couldn't take the pain. I turned back because it got too hard. I turned back because the air got too thin for me. See what I'm saying, Steve?
Can I ask you a question about that?
Sure.
Yeah, I do see what you're saying. Jeff, I think you might know this, but you're in a very small percentage of people that understand yourself well enough to push your limits and go beyond, and that you're willing to do that. That's kind of what this whole conversation's about right now, is that you have clearly demonstrated the type of person, the type of man that you are. And you know, I've been doing shows for 7 or 8 months now, and we talk about many characteristics of winners. And it's good to be around. I've already said that in my introduction, that I respect you for that. You're doing many things with your life, Jeff, that go beyond an average, everyday type of person that has very small goals in life. And so what I want to ask you before you go further, because I said that a lot that you said on those 2 shows really, I wanted to go deeper. Jeff, not everybody has what you have. And And this is one of those things where, hey, if we wanted to go commercial here, could we bottle that personality, that trait, those traits that you have, those things that make you who you are, so that people that are lacking the confidence, people that are lacking the discipline, the drive, can swallow something from a bottle and then start to have that. In other words, in life, a lot of people want things that their role models, their heroes have, that they want to emulate those people. And so you're not going to let this go to your head. I have an expression called beyond ego that I came up with 40 years ago, that when you've got something, you don't got to be ashamed of it. And so here's what I want to say to you. I'll give you did you hear that? I couldn't say it. I'll break it down. I'm going to give you a two-part question. First of all, I want to ask you, why do you keep doing these kind of things? And articulate that for us. And the second part is, for those that want what you have, let's give them the clue, the key to where they can start. And here's the last thing I'm going to say, and then I'm going to turn it back over to you, because this is I know I just can't wait to hear your response on some of this. On your show, you talk about taking the first step, and that each one of us has within us greatness. Well, I want to say this to you. I believe, and I listen to Napoleon Hill, the original Napoleon Hill tapes and things daily right now, and Jim Stovall and other people that I really, really want to learn more from. 98% to 100%, according to Napoleon Hill, the greatest of them all in the thought people, says that people have these fears and that they don't really know how to do things. People are afraid of greatness. And in our world, if you are a person that's strong and are doing a lot of things, most people think that you're some kind of egomaniac, and why are you trying to do this, and what's your point? Are you doing this for self-gratification or pleasure or what? And so people are afraid of greatness, but people like you that experience greatness and go beyond your limits and keep broadening those limits and get to the next horizon, climb the next mountain so you can get to the one beyond that. People need people like you, and that's why you do what you do. I know, to motivate people and inspire people. That's your goal. So let's take that whole thing I just threw at you. It's kind of deep, I know that. But talk about the fear that people have of greatness and how you're approaching it so that you can pass it on to other people, and just how far are you going to go with climbing mountains?
Well, first off, it's nothing special. Everybody has the ability to do what everybody else has the ability to do. It's in your mind that stops you. At some point in your life, people told you weren't good enough for whatever it is, and you believed it. Okay, so the other thing is, I don't compete with anybody. I compete only with myself, and that's it. I don't care what other people are doing.
I got to interrupt you on that. I got to stop you, Jeff. There's a delay on here, so it's hard to interrupt you. I want everybody to hear what Jeff just said, please. See, that's the secret. I know that from many others, and I'm trying to tap into it deeper myself. Don't compete with anybody else. Don't keep up with the Joneses. Just look at yourself, start at your starting point, and decide that you are going to move forward.
Right. I mean, that's it. There was a point when we started the mountain climb. Okay, there's a box, and it's at the trailhead. And in my mind, I stood there, and there was this imaginary line, and I said to myself, "Just take the step," because even up to that point, I'm a big bad. I don't want to say. I'm a big bad butt. So, and, I don't believe that I can be beat at a lot of things. And at that point, I even had it in my head that, I don't know, man, this is going to be tough. And do I take this step? And I stepped over the line. And when I stepped over that imaginary line, now I'm on the trail. And now I'm going to march that trail until I finish it. But the thing, let me go back to about competing. You don't compete with anybody. You really, if you are, stop, because it doesn't matter. Okay. You're not that person. It doesn't matter how far you go or they go. It only matters to you, what you're doing with yourself. And why I say that is, if you're not doing the things that you want to be doing, nobody's stopping you but you. Not the person that said you can't do it. It's you that's stopping you. And I hope people understand that you should be competing with nobody but yourself. The other thing is, I don't care what people think about me or say about me. I really don't. And that's almost it could be a flaw, but I don't see it as that, because it's their opinion. And I know in myself what my opinion is. And as long as you have a good, strong opinion of yourself, which you should, and if you don't, that is where you got to start. You're not a loser.
Yeah.
You're only a loser because you don't want to start, and that's what you're believing about yourself. But think about it like this. What if you never climbed a mountain and you decided, well, I'm going to try to climb the mountain, and you started climbing the mountain, but you only got halfway? How many people do you think would have even tried that to go halfway? But, if you just sat back in the parking lot or sat back in your living room, you'd have never known what your capabilities were up to that point, because you didn't try, because you believed that you couldn't do it.
Jeff, that's good.
That's what it comes down to. Let me tell you one other thing.
You raised your kids, Jeff. Okay, go.
Let me tell you one other thing. I'll tell you two stories, real short. One is about an NFL player. And the NFL player I interviewed on my show, and he told me about, he wanted to be accepted so badly by the fans, by the team, and recognized that he basically lost all of his money. He wound up in jail. He wound up in jail on his knees, and he lost everything. Everything. Because he was concerned about what people thought about him, and he wanted to be accepted. The only person you need to be worrying about who accepts you is yourself. You have to accept yourself first. Otherwise, nobody else will accept you. The other person is Darryl Strawberry. He's a friend. And Darryl Strawberry tells a story that when he was a rookie, the very first time he goes on the plane, there's three of the top names on the Mets team sitting in the front row. Says, we have a present for you, rookie, back in the head. He goes back there, and there's lines of cocaine. And he wanted to be accepted so badly by the team and recognized as a team member that he did those lines of cocaine. And we all know what happened as a result. Yes, he got four World Series rings, but he also lost everything in the process. So the thing to these stories is, the only person that you have to be concerned with is yourself. You shouldn't be worried about what other people are saying or thinking, and you should be looking at your mountains and saying, which mountain am I going to attack today? Maybe it's your bills, like you talk about all the time. Maybe it's going to get a job, but it's easy to sit and watch TV all day long and not go get the job. You don't have to get dressed up. You don't have to take a shower. You don't have to shave. You don't have to do a lot of things. Hey, that was easy. I don't need to do that. And I'm getting by, hey, why do I need to do that? Right? So it's a big thing about competing with yourself. And it's John Maxwell told me very early on when I first met him, we were standing there talking, and he tells everybody this: what people say or think about you is none of your business, because there's nothing you can do about it. So why worry about it?
Yeah, that's deep. So let's